Well, hello and welcome back to Box Office Chat, where we discuss and break down the top 10 best performing films within the United Kingdom's box office. And Stephen, this is for the weekend of May 3rd to 5th, 2019. What is in at number one this week, Stephen? Is it still Dumbo?
Yeah, it still is. It isn't. It is Avengers Endgame, surprisingly, John, and it's grossed another 14.2 million over the weekend, 68.3 million overall in its second week.
Absolutely crazy number, Stephen. I have to say, I had a brief little research into the numbers in the United Kingdom's all-time top 10. It's not quite in there yet. As of yesterday, I've not checked it today. Maybe in there now. It was sitting at number 11. So it's at number 11, not even 2 weeks into its run at the box office, Stephen. It's crazy. It's actually going into its third weekend now, but as you do know, we're a week behind on this show, so we can only work off the numbers we have. We don't get real-time updated figures like the United States do. But look, Stephen, what can you say? $68.3 million. It's absolutely sensational, the performance. It's well on its way to toppling Avatar as the all-time grossing film in the international box office, not just Britain, not just the United States, everywhere. Just under $2.5 billion
I saw James Cameron had a nice message over last week, John, in regards to toppling Titanic's record, which was a very nice gesture from the director of that film. But
Stephen, he's a guy that's into big blockbusters. He'll appreciate what this film's did, the story, the way it's brought everything together. Just the sheer amount of story in there, the amount of visually aesthetic, amazing things in there.
I think most of these team that did work on Titanic are now with Marvel anyway, so it kind of...
So there you go, it's a
win-win.
crossover,
Number two this week, it's Long Shot.
Not so big.
Its first week, it's grossed 800,000, a bit of a drop here, but listen, it is what it is, John. We did a trailer reaction for this film probably about 2 or 3 weeks ago, as I recall. This is the film obviously starring likes of Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen, etc. I quite like the look of this. Not been to see it yet, but I like the sort of chemistry between the two leading actors. Looks quite funny. Lot of action in there as well. But you know what you're getting with the likes of Seth Rogen.
You do, Stephen. And look, you know what you're getting in terms of box office numbers. This film can't have had a massive budget. Certainly nowhere near the $350 million of Avengers Endgame. It's incredible when you actually look at the figures though, the drop. Avengers has grossed like $16 million, £14 million in its second weekend. This just £800,000. It's just insane how much that one release is dominating the box office. Everybody's flocking to see that. I think, and you can maybe look at it through a sort of a way viewpoint, Stephen. Is that damaging the box office, or is it in a way saving the box office?
This is a once-in-a-lifetime event, John. I think a lot of people have echoed those sentiments over the last few weeks since its release, John. As far as Long Shot goes, I will get along to see this because I do like the look of it. Yeah,
$23 million worldwide, Stephen. That's absolutely fine. That's not to be sneered at all. Not every film can reach the gargantuan heights of an Endgame, and it's doing absolutely fine. It's a Lionsgate release, just purely for personal reasons. I usually like to see Lionsgate releases burn and flop like an absolute just worst film ever, all time flop level, just purely because they like to copyright claim every single video we do, reaction video. But I will be going to see the John Wick 3 film very shortly, Stephen, if I can speak, and that hopefully won't flop despite being a Lionsgate film. Bit of a hypocrite. But look, I digress, Stephen. We're going to move on to number 3, and it is the Curse of La Llorona.
I'm glad you said that.
I think I'm saying it wrong though. I'm pretty sure the Mexicans say La Llorona, but I like to say Llorona. I say Llorona because I want to sound a little bit
exotic, it's its first week, John, and it's grossed 600,000 over the weekend and of course overall.
Yes, Stephen, we both reacted to 2 trailers for this film.
Seems like a lifetime ago we did those.
It does, Stephen, and we were actually talking about it, I think, prior to that as well, perhaps. Before we even started doing videos, it may have been back in the audio show days. It's obviously about the classic urban myth, legend of this woman drowning her 2 children, and then she comes back and haunts all various different children throughout Latin America. Looks very interesting. It's a Warner Brothers release. It looked pretty decent. It looked like a decent little horror film. I like to look at the trailers anyway. Glad to see it's opened fairly decently over here, £600,000. It's already sitting at $113.6 million worldwide, just a $9 million budget. It's made a monumental profit already, Stephen. It's not out very long indeed. I think you'll see like Mexico and obviously the Latin American
Yeah,
population
no,
over in the
definitely,
States flocking to this. This is something they were brought up with, the likes of, we were probably brought up with the Boogeyman or something like that over here. That's probably the equivalent over here. I want to say the Candyman, but that was a film, I believe, from the 90s. But I recall being terrorised by that in primary school. Say Candyman, I think 3 times or something, they'll appear. This is their equivalent, and it's doing very well, so I'm happy. I've not seen it yet, but I will go and watch it because I like the look of those trailers.
Same here, John. Number 4 this week, it's Tolkien, its first week, and it's grossed £600,000 over the weekend, and of course, overall.
Yeah, Stephen, you've been to see this film. I have not, as of yet, been to see it. It can't have had a wide release yet. I presume it will be releasing in the United States because J.R.R. Tolkien, albeit from the United Kingdom, much beloved writer from here, arguably one of the greatest writers of all time, if not the greatest, one of the greatest imaginations of all time in literary sense. Just what he managed to do, building worlds, creating languages. I'm assuming it will get a release in the United States. As of yet, it hasn't, though. But Stephen, that's absolutely fine. That opening weekend number is absolutely fine for a film of this nature.
10 cinemas in Glasgow, John, it's been released in.
Pretty decent.
And the theatre I went to was relatively empty, to be fair. It was during the day as well. I don't really want to get too much into this because I think once we, or once you have seen the movie, we probably will do a combined movie review, a video review that is of it, because I know that you're a big fan.
I am indeed. Big fan of Nicholas Hoult as well.
Yeah, I was going to say Nicholas Hoult is fantastic in this, but as I said, I don't really want to get too much into it. It's a great film for someone that doesn't really know too much about the writer, to be really introduced to what he had to go through and where his inspirations came from.
Yeah, Stephen, as you do know, this is a facts and figures show. Anyway, we're just quickly streamlining through the weekend numbers. So we'll move on that note to number 5, which is Dumbo, obviously the 2019 release, the remake from Disney. It's grossed another £470,000 at the weekend. 52.7% drop for this weekend in terms of performance. It's dropped 31 theatres and it's now sitting at a rather decent little figure of £23.7 million after 6 weeks. That's pretty good for a film which was getting widespread condemnation, getting told essentially it was a crap film, that Tim Burton had spoiled people's childhoods. Well, it's grossed, I should say, I'm flinging a bit of slang in there, it's grossed just under $344 million worldwide. It's made a sliver of a profit. And Disney aren't caring because they just rake it in. They've probably grossed nearly, God knows how much money. Must be hitting at nearly $500 billion now.
I think so, John.
For the calendar year.
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy.
And sort of Disney based films, away from Marvel and Star Wars, etc. This film is one of those ones like, I'm trying to give a good example, like Christopher Robin. It's one of those ones where they're not really that fussed how it does. It's going to do well, but it's not going to do well as the likes of The Lion King when it is released, John, or Aladdin in that case. But it's a film I enjoyed. I've seen both now. I've seen the original animated one, which was the one I grew up with. This one is a good take on it. I expected Tim Burton to put his own spin on it, his own sort of look on it, his own tone on it.
He certainly did.
I thought it was a good made film. I thought the actors performed well in it as well, and I thought the animation from the actual main character, Dumbo, was well done. Really
enjoyed the animation, Stephen. Really enjoyed Colin Farrell. I thought he did get his distinct visuals in there. It was quite dark in parts, that unique Tim Burton feel, but it remained faithful to the classic film, which I presume it did, because that's what most of the Disney releases have done, these remasters. I've not actually seen Dumbo for a long time, but I presume it was pretty faithful to the original story.
It was as close as you're going to get from a Tim Burton version, if you know what I mean, so if that makes any sense. But we'll move on, John, to number 6 this week. It's Wonder Park in its 4th week. It's grossed £200,000 over the weekend, 4.1 million overall.
Yes, this is the Paramount release, Stephen, the animated release. Obviously, it's dropped 47.2% this weekend. 5 theatres down, which is not too bad after 4 weeks. £4 million is pretty decent for I presume a small to medium sized sort of animated budget. I can't get the international figures. I will in a second though. $115.4 million. This film must have made, at least broke even, I would have presumed. It's not had much push over here in terms of promotion.
No.
If I was to be guessing, or a betting man and guess what the budget would be, I'd probably presume around $50 million or something like that. Can't have been scraping $100 million, no chance. So it must have broke even, roughly, so they're not really caring.
No, we'll move on anyway, John, to number 7 this week. It's Joan in its 3rd week.
Yes.
And it's grossed another £200,000 over the weekend to 13.1 million overall. This is, of course, the Dame Judi Dench film.
Not what was that I said last week? Jane Doody or something like that. It's definitely Dame Judi Dench. It's a very hard name to say. Why did you put that name in there, Judy? Why?
Yeah.
Stephen, I went and seen this one with my mother earlier in the week.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to go and see it. She wanted to go and see it. I thought it was okay. It was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Judi Dench is, as ever, fantastic. Pretty sure she was in the Victoria and Abdul release.
Yeah,
she played Queen Victoria.
Yeah.
She just knows how to make a film, and perhaps an average film, better than what it really is.
Yeah.
It was an interesting little story. Obviously, she's this KGB spy, longest serving one, I think, in Britain, or longest running one, 25 years. Interesting story. Not a film I'd normally go and see, but look, I went along, and it wasn't offensively bad or anything like that. It was pretty decent. £2 million.
Did it have a US release, John?
I'm not too sure. No, it didn't. No, we've spoken about that before.
Yeah.
Actually, it says it did, Stephen, yeah. But it's only grossed £900,000 in the United States, or dollars in the United States, I should say. So it's not a wide release over there by any means, but it's a British-centric story.
Yeah. We'll come back to another monster film here, John, in regards to box office numbers, and it's Captain Marvel at number 8 this week. It's
number 8.
in its 9th week now. Seems like it's been a lot longer than that. It's £200,000 over the weekend, 39.1 million overall.
Yeah, it's again just goes to highlight just how much of a joke Stephen Avengers Endgame is in terms of just juggernaut of a release in terms of box office. 2 weeks and it's already grossed nearly double.
Yeah.
Well, 2/3 of what Captain Marvel's managed in 9 weeks, and Captain Marvel is a gargantuan release over here in the United Kingdom. I think the periphery into the top 10 is around about £60 million over here, so it's not far off. I mean, it's probably in the top 30 films ever released in the United Kingdom without looking at the figures, and it's done very well, Stephen, despite all of the sort of butt-hurt white male alt-right figures getting all bent out of shape about obviously Brie Larson's comments about press junkets being dominated by white male figures, which through her sort of a tiny little minuscule vision of the press junket may very well be the case.
There's actual YouTube channels dedicating too much time on this lady, to be fair.
But that's YouTube's fault, Stephen, because they do like to build channels now off of drama and controversy and stuff like that, so they're going to just get right into this and dime into it so they can get all these butt-hurt little alt-right gets in to watch the videos. I don't care about that crap. Did I think it was the greatest MCU film of all time? No, it's not even in my top 12, 13. It's right up there, maybe in the higher sort of the lower echelons, I want to say, of the MCU releases. I enjoyed it. It was okay. There's not been a bad MCU release to date, and it's done pretty damn good. $1.2 billion worldwide, so can't complain with that.
And just rounding up this week's top 10, John, it's number 10 this week's 8th grade in its second week. And it's grossed 100,000.
Stephen, I think you've missed Shazam.
Oh, sorry, I have.
Yeah, you've missed
jumping
Shazam.
The gun. I'm trying to move on to the next show. Sorry about that.
You'll get all those DC fans now trying to kill you, Stephen.
Yeah.
Oh dear. They just want to talk about MCU films all day.
Yes, I know.
Just snub the DC film.
So anyway, number 9 this week, it's Shazam.
Yes.
And it's in its 5th week. And it's grossed £100,000 over the weekend, 13.2 million overall. John, I'm quite sad about that, I've got to be honest with you. I thought it was a great film, first and foremost. I thought Zachary Levi was fantastic.
He was.
Fantastically cast as well.
Yep.
Just, he knew how to capture the essence of what is it, was it 12?
12 or something like that, 14 13, or something,
something like that. It just, very much like Tom Hanks did in Big. He knew how to get into the mindset of his younger version of himself.
Did they not do that as well, Stephen? Was there not another Tom Hanks release where he was that Big? I'm maybe thinking about Big. I'm thinking about Big. Yeah, I'm thinking about. You know what I'm thinking about? I'm thinking about the Robin Williams one, where he was.
That Patch Adams, yeah, that was a good film as well. I actually forgot.
Big is definitely the one where he went to the fortune teller machine.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
it. Yeah,
swapped roles. I think with his
and
father
that's what I got from Zachary Levi's performance in this film. Away from that, the story was great. The villain was excellent. I can't remember the chap's name. Mark.
It was Mark Strong.
Mark Strong.
Yeah, very good villain.
Yeah, he's a great actor as well, John. The fact that they gave these characters a lot of development throughout the film. The kids as well from the foster home are excellent. I thought they
were really good. Yeah,
they played the parts like a real family.
Didn't so much like the Power Rangers scene at the end.
No, that was only
that was
comic. Yeah, exactly. Can't argue with that if it is. But
really
listen, apart from that, it was probably the only minus in the film. I thought it was a great film, but I'm very sad to see you know, it's not really performing well over here. It's decent, but I thought it would have done a lot better.
In fairness though, Stephen, there's been a lot of comic book movies in 2019 already. It's in danger of saturating the market. Obviously Endgame is a complete anomaly because it's an event. It's a sort of, I can't recall what the term was I used for, I think it was zeitgeist for Black Panther, obviously the people of colour communities in the United States and Britain and everywhere. That was their sort of a zeitgeist moment. This is a zeitgeist moment for everybody who's a fan of the MCU. Obviously Endgame I'm speaking about, not Shazam. So it is just completely out of the picture when it comes to comic book saturation. But already, Stephen, we've had Captain Marvel, we've had Shazam, the original Captain Marvel, Endgame, Glass, and I think there was another one in there. So we've had a whole lot of comic book movies, so you can't really blame people perhaps giving this one a skip, perhaps not being aware of just how good a film it was, because it was a fantastic film, Stephen, as you did say. Though, to be fair, it is only a mid-budget release as well for a comic book. $100 million, just shy of $360 million worldwide. It's made a decent little profit for DC. It's a kind of a curveball sort of a move they've made, picking this wacky character, and the fact that it's been a success, that will give them more confidence to go on and do more little characters and stuff like that. Maybe shy away from using the bigger characters like Batman, Superman, until we get the right people in charge, the likes of Matt Reeves, and then we can go off and do a better Justice League film, Stephen. But look, it's done pretty damn decent. It's starting to drop though now, 63.3% drop on this weekend's performance, and it's nearly halved its feet, so it's going to be dropping out pretty shortly, I would have thought.
And just rounding up the top 10, John.
Yes.
It is this film called 8th Grade. In its second week, it's grossed £100,000 over the weekend and £300,000 overall. Now, I'm not too familiar with this film at all.
No.
I know it's in its second week, but it definitely wasn't in the top 10 last week.
No, it sneaked in there,
talked about it.
No, we didn't know, Stephen. You know what I can't believe? How to Train Your Dragon Hidden World is still sitting at 13th, 14 weeks in.
That's crazy.
That is absolutely crazy that that film is knocking on the door of perhaps coming back into the top 10 of the box office. That is mental. But yeah, Stephen, I've never heard of 8th Grade. I don't even know what it's about. I presume it's about an 8th grade girl. A story about her. It's a girl in the poster, and it's 8th grade.
Well,
I'm kind of stating the obvious.
It does say that in the synopsis, John, it says an introverted teenage girl tries to survive the last week of her disastrous 8th grade year before leaving to start high school. That
sounds interesting. It's a comedy, so I suppose it's got its audience. R-rated though. That's a strange call, that. An 8th grade girl, and it's an R-rated comedy. Maybe cutting off your demographic there, your key target demographics there, Sonny. Look, it's got $13.5 million worldwide, Stephen.
Yeah.
I don't have much more to add to it, really. It's not done amazing here by any means. £300,000, is it crap? No, it's probably not. It's probably okay for a film of this size, 2 weeks in the United Kingdom. But look, I ain't got much more to add. I'm pretty sure you're done as well, Stephen. Yes. So that is going to wrap up this week's show. If you enjoyed it, you know what to do. Comment below and let us know what your thoughts are on all of these box office figures if you care. Like the video if you enjoyed the content. Subscribe to the channel for more, and we'll be back tomorrow with MBE Heroes.